Hey, what's up guys, it's Fish here and welcome back to some more Ancient Empire for Attila Total War. Today we are playing an online battle against Pixelated Apollo and we are on the River Fort map, which you may remember me and him doing, I think actually a couple months ago, maybe even longer, on the Medieval Kingdoms 1212 mod. Today we thought we'd go back in time and play as two barbarian factions and kind of just have a massive brawl over this river fort. I am commanding the Arvenni with Vercingetorix as my commander, and Apollo is commanding the Iceni. So this will be kind of a cool battle. As well as that, we have like 15,000 men on the field. Yeah, over 15,000 men. So it's going to be a crazy battle for sure. Lots of engagements, lots of sturdy battles, and you also see it's also a 40-minute battle. So it's going to be crazy. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. If you did, make sure to drop a like and a comment. So before we get started, I will run through the army comps for the troops. We'll just kind of look at what the units look like. If you want to skip this, you can click the skip annotation if I can actually speak. But yeah, if you want to stick around, then let's go through them. So on my front line, I have some Celtic spear wall. These guys, I really enjoy the length of their spears. Like normally I would just used to kind of like just like a person height spear, but actually to see these guys with like, you know, much longer spears is really cool. Hopefully that'll change up the way they fight actually in combat. So I have four or five of these dudes just along my line. These guys are going to be my front line. They're also protected from Apollo's cavalry because he does have quite a lot of that. Then I have some of my Iceni Celtic archer militia. These guys are my best archer force. They're going to be putting down some fire, and I think I brought like 6 of these guys because I'm going to need a lot of missile fire to try and break Apollo's position because obviously he has plenty of choke points ready to hold me back. Some more archer militia here. Then I have a unit of Celtic naked fanatics. Again, like I feel like they're lying to me right now. These guys aren't naked, but obviously these dudes are fierce warriors, forsaking armor just because they want to show how fierce they are. Then behind that I have my Celtic free warband. Also, I should mention that this is obviously like this build is like 2 months old maybe. So yeah, it's a pretty old build. We'll also slow it down because some battles about to happen over there. This is a pretty old build, so lots of things are probably subject to change as the mod gets further and further to being released on the 30th of September. So just bear that in mind. So some more Celtic free warband over here. Some more Celtic. So then I've got my Celtic noble warband. These dudes are my heaviest infantry. Oh no, these are my second best infantry. They're going to be really good in combat, but I can't wait to throw them in. And then finally, I have my Celtic free warband. These dudes are my heaviest infantry. You can see they're pretty heavily armored, and I know that they'll do pretty decently in combat. Then I have 5 units of these late Celtic noble warband. So maybe these guys are actually my best infantry. These guys are probably my best infantry. I love the brooches and kind of like the helmets and stuff. It looks really cool. That dude even has a crow above his helmet, so that's cool. And then that's my force over to the left. Then if we go over to my right, I have some more Celtic Levy Freemen, some basic spearmen, some Celtic Noble Warband early. So these are kind of my second best infantry. Some Celtic Naked Fanatics, again lying to me, no naked penises flopping around in a battle. Some Celtic Bonded Levies. Some War Dogs, which are ridiculously OP. You guys will see about that in a second. Then it's just my cavalry over here, which are looking beautiful. Of course, Celtic noble horses. Then if we look at Apollo's forces really quickly before we get into this battle, here's some Bretonnian heavy horse, or some Briton heavy horse. These dudes look like they can do pretty good in melee, look a bit better than my horses. Then behind that, here's 2 units of these chariots. Again, chariots are always weird in like Total War. They always get stuck and they just don't really perform as like expected, which is kind of a bit annoying. Then he has 2 units of these Briton dog handlers. These Briton dog handlers. Again, dogs are just super OP. Then he has some Briton bonded levies. So again, we will share similar units because we are both barbarian factions. This is a unique weapon unit for the Britons, though they do have some Druid warband, which is cool, looking very awesome. Each of these dudes looking pretty unique as well, even though there's twins over here. But you know, there's a lot of different textures and stuff. That dude is blue and white, which is cool. He has 2 units of them. Some more infantry over here. Then in the city, he has some slingers. He has some more Briton warband over here. These guys actually look heavily armored. The Britons actually look a lot like heavily armored than the Arvenni, which is a surprising thing. Briton warband late. Some tribal leaders. This is his general right here. Then he also has some, like a little ambush set up over here with some naked fanatic warriors. And then obviously some skirmish cav right here. So cool, the battle is getting underway. Let's go ahead and go cinematic mode. So the battle's going to start off with some archer fire. My archers are going to move in range of his slingers, and we're going to be starting to pepper his formation. As well as that, like I suddenly realized as we jumped into this battle, the sheer amount of cavalry that Apollo brought to this. You know, he has 3 heavy horse and 2 chariots, and then some skirmisher cav on the left flank. So because of that, I'm trying to use my spears as best as possible to kind of protect my flanks. Like, I don't want my swordsmen just to get charged by cavalry, because if they get charged by cavalry, they're gonna die. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm moving all my sword infantry along with my spears, and I'm going to have to make sure that I use my cavalry as best as I can, because I've only got 2 units of horses, plus Vercingetorix, who is also on horseback. But I've got to make sure that I don't just throw away my cavalry, because they're really, really important. Over here, we've still got my archers shooting off, trying to march further into position on this epic-looking river fort map. And also over here, you can see some of Apollo's skirmisher cav going to be riding away as they just threw in their spears into my line, and my spearmen are chasing them off. Sorry I'm zooming around, this battle's a bit hectic, but I will try and slow it up as we go in. So I'm going to be marching into the city now, or into this little mini village with spears and swords. Again, ensuring that I have spears and swords together, so that if he does try and use his extra cavalry, that won't really affect me too much. Advancing my archers a bit. Just want to get in range and keep on harassing his slingers, which are going to be turning and getting ready to volley back at me. And by the looks of it, Apollo is going to be charging his chariots towards me, and going to go and maybe volley. I don't know what he's going to try and do with these, if he's just going to kind of use his missiles to like skirmish me a bit, like by throwing spears and then running away. But I'm going to seize this opportunity. I want to engage these chariots, because if I engage these chariots and kill them, then there's kind of less people for me to worry about. And I'm going to get a pretty good charge off on the chariots, killing quite a few of them on the charge. As we can see, we can zoom out and just watch it. A lot of my horses are going to be catching on these guys, but Apollo is instantly going to pounce and throw his horses at me. You know, maybe this was a good ploy by Apollo to kind of tie down my own cavalry, and then he can kind of push in his cavalry and just overwhelm me. My spearmen are going to go support. Apollo is also going to feint with his cavalry, try his best to hit my archers, but I do see that, and I have spearmen ready to protect my archers, and he's going to have to pull back. But at the moment, there's a pretty big horse engagement just kind of scattered around here. It's kind of hard to tell whose cavalry is who. I think Apollo is going to try and withdraw, because his if we look, a lot of his chariots are actually routing now, because I managed to get a good charge off on them, and they were trying to retreat. Apollo was trying to pull them off the battlefield. So because of that, and again over here, he's trying to get out of here, he's trying to withdraw. I am chasing him down, slaughtering these chariots as they try and run out. So overall, this was a pretty good engagement for me straight off the bat. I've kind of got 2 full strength units of cavalry left, apart from this one, this noble horse, which kind of got dealt a pretty heavy blow. Now, I'm going to make kind of a bit of a big mistake over here by just pursuing him. That's going to kind of get me away from my spears, and it's going to allow him. But I do get another good charge off over here onto the chariots. You see the numbers going down, slaughtering these chariots now. Because I got a good charge off and he was stationary, these chariots aren't really going to be able to do much. So I am managing to eliminate the chariots. However, I'm kind of much further away from my infantry line than I would like. Over here, we have a melee engagement starting off. Apollo has formed a decent shield wall here with his spears, and these guys are going to hold, you know. They're holding a choke point. It's very hard for them to be outflanked. I did manage to move some soldiers around this little path here, and they're going to be helping out, kind of trying to outflank them, but Apollo instantly met me with some of his more elite sword infantry, so they're going to be holding off pretty effectively. As well as that, he has a perfect position up here with his skirmishers. They're just going to be shooting down into the flanks of my soldiers, racking up plenty of kills. Plenty of kills indeed. The engagement over here is going to begin very, very soon as well. Apollo is falling back a lot of his infantry, as he knows that my swords are starting to push up and really win the day. I've got my swordsman over here up against his skirmishers, so this should be ease game, ease life right here for my sword infantry. You can actually see that as well. You can see they're starting to waver. They're just no match really for my heavy infantry. But yeah, the morale has changed a lot. I remember the guy telling me, the main mod creator telling me that the mod has changed a lot since this build. This build's like 2 months old, I think, 2 to 3 months old. So it's going to change a lot when the game actually comes out on the 30th of September. A few of you guys were asking me as well. It will have a functional campaign as well. So there will be a campaign hopefully released on the 30th. So you guys have that to look forward to as well, along with just online battles and stuff. So I'm super, super pumped for that. Super pumped. You can see my infantry starting to push up over here. I've got my archer fire coming over, hopefully finding some straight hits, so just kind of wounding this secondary unit. Because if I can get rid of this unit of Britain Warband, then that'll kind of allow me to completely outflank the spears and get it routed. Because at the moment, you know, they've been holding for about 10 minutes now. Not even 10 minutes, maybe about 5 minutes. But this is slowing up my advance into the fort. I want to start hitting this as soon as I can. Because again, this goes down pretty much to the wire, you know. The fact the end of a battle is pretty much the end of the time. I'm not going to spoil it, like it could be the end of the time or it could not be the end of the time. But the 60 minutes of the battle does get either, it does run out or it gets very close to running out. So, you know, that's kind of like a nice victory condition for Apollo. That if the time runs out, then he will obviously win the battle. So it's kind of a nice, like, if this goes down to the wire, which is pretty crazy. And the fighting in the city is just going out. These barbarians are vicious. Just going tooth and nail for this. And it's just the beginning of the battle, you know. I'm starting to engage over here. These horrific archer towers, though, are going to be pounding down on my infantry, helping Apollo kind of turn the tide in his favor. If we look at the balance of power, it's still in my favor. I've lost about getting close to 1,000 men. I mean, we pretty much lost the same men. Yeah, literally almost lost the same men. About 800 men each we've lost, which is good for me because I have plenty of men to send into this engagement. We'll have some more infantry being thrown into the combat over here. I'm trying to get my spearmen around the flank as well because I want to try and annihilate these towers as much as possible. We also have a cavalry engagement over here. I do have some spearmen helping out, but it does look like that Apollo is going to win this cavalry engagement, which is a real shame. My horses are getting charged when they're stationary and they're just going to flee, which really sucks for me because now if you look at it, Apollo has 3 units of cavalry left and I have no cavalry apart from my general. So that's not going to bode too well for me. I'm up against these Celtic druids right now. I do have archer fire coming overhead on the ridge, which is going to be putting down some good suppressing fire on these Celtics. Not really hitting any of my men as well. There's actually some females, I think. Yeah, there's actually some females as well fighting along here, which is cool. They're supporting the Levy Freeman over there. I'm also pushing against these naked fanatics as well with some more of my elite infantry. So I'm hoping they'll be able to hold their own and push up. And then over here, I've got my longer spears up against the druids. You can actually see they're using their longer reach on the spears to actually really cause an issue. But it's not going to be good for me now. Apollo has 3 units of horses. He can just charge at me. And I don't really have too many spears left. Like, I'm trying to bring my spears over to protect this flank as best as possible. Actually, to tell a lie, I have quite a few extra units of spearmen. I also have 3 units of these Celtic noble warriors in reserve as well. I just want to try and use my spears as best as possible to kind of protect from these cavalry engagements. But remember, the cavalry is going to be much more mobile. And these spears are going to rout now. Just the sheer amount of missile fire from these towers and fighting the druids, which I believe do cause fear. And Apollo also threw in his war dogs as well. And these war dogs are just going to rip through my soldiers. You know, the amount of fear that they're creating. He did unleash from over here with this handler unit. And they're going to be just causing me so many issues. Just ripping the limbs off, just viciously biting. These dogs are bred for a single purpose. To destroy the will of the Arvenni. But don't worry, I have a unit of my own, which I will be sending in very soon. I don't think I'm going to send them quite yet, but they're going to go into the choke points. And again, the dogs are just ridiculous. Finally, over here on this right flank, or I guess left flank, we are finally starting to break these guys. This unit has suddenly realized that their flank is no longer protected, and they're going to get the hell out of there. I'm going to charge into them, though, and cut down as many prisoners as possible. I do not want any of these guys coming back, or even thinking about coming back. So I'm going to make sure I just crush him there. And I'm also going to start pushing onto the city centre, or into the city, which you can see his men are withdrawing into. I've got archer fire coming out, some hitting the ramparts, but a lot of them finding their target, which is good. I'm also going to be moving around to this flank as well. I want to kind of just, you know, stretch Apollo as thin as physically possible by attacking every single flank. This right side is not going to go too well for me though. Apollo has, you know, all his cavalry units now, and there's not really much I can do about it. You know, I have one unit of spears which isn't engaged. Looking back on this battle, what I could have done is I definitely could have maybe just moved these swords into the engagement and had these spears to protect them, which is something I you know, instead of having these swords to kind of protect the spearmen, I have them vice versa. And again, the druids are really causing me an issue here. I believe they do cause fear. If we can't even look, which is unfortunate. But they are causing me a huge issue, just kind of ruining my morale. And the rate at which these towers are shooting down are just really, really painful. And if we get on board with Apollo's cavalry, you can see they are just marching, getting ready to go in position. This dude is standing on his horse. He is ghost riding that horse. Beautiful, beautiful indeed. I'm going to try and commit my swords as much as possible to this force before Apollo kind of realizes with his horses. I am trying to charge his horses whilst he's not looking with some spearmen, but these guys are exhausted. They've been fighting for so long. They've been chasing for so long, and it's just not really going to help as well. So I'm using these spears, but again, Apollo's going to get a perfect charge off here into my flank. And that's just going to be these guys were not stationary, they weren't ready, they weren't steady, and that's just going to rip through them. Look how many men have just been trampled down from that cavalry charge. And I think that's going to rout them as well. Yeah, they just can't hold up to that, and they're going to fall back. We don't have any support or anything like that, so it's understandable why they are getting the hell out of there. You know, I needed to make sure I defended that force. You know, I should have had spears there or something, but the swordsmen just aren't able to deal with that. So again, I think I've mentioned this in a previous video, but for those of you who don't know, the actual, I guess, I'm trying to think of a word, I can't, fatigue, sorry, it was early in the morning. The fatigue of troops really matter in this battle, in this mod. So you want to make sure to try your best to keep your units as fresh as possible. So even what I've kind of done over here on this unit, right here, is I had these two units. They've been fighting since the beginning of the game. So what I did was I brought these guys out of the battle after winning this small engagement so they can rest, and I threw some more fresh units into the actual battle over here. As the more tired your men get, the more they kind of just lack the ability to fight, the lower their morale is and stuff like that. So you kind of want to keep rotating these units from being in combat to being out of combat when you can. So if you win a small combat, kind of bring these guys back and move in your reserve to kind of replenish that engagement, and then allow that unit, which was just fighting, to take a breather and not really kind of get their breath back and stuff like that. That's going to be really, really vital in this battle. And if we just take kind of a little glimpse overview of this engagement as it's just fully going in right now. The River Fort of Doom. It is definitely standing by its name. I love having the city burning in the background as well. That looks absolutely awesome. So Apollo is going to be charging over here, but I do send in my war dogs, which are going to be slowing up a lot of these horses. But again, he's going to get a perfect charge into the back of my warriors right here. Throwing their javelins as well as they go in. And some of these horses getting really deep in and just kind of completely just surrounding my unit here. Luckily, this is, I think, my strongest infantry unit, so they're not going to be too worried about this. You know, they are surrounded, they are a bit unhappy, and they are tired, which isn't good. However, having the war dogs here just kind of at the heels of the horses is going to scare the horses. These guys are going to be ripping at the horses' throats and legs and stuff and just kind of taking them down. This dude is scouting on top of his horse, which is such a funny bug. It's such a funny bug. And luckily, I'm not up against the strongest infantry unit as well, so we don't really have to worry too much. This unit can hold its own, which is good. Which is very, very good. Infantry engagement over here. Again, I'm pushing in more fresh infantry when I can and trying to bring them forward as best as possible. Over here, I've kind of formed a good little kind of shield wall to prevent any of his horses, because he does have some skirmisher cavalry somewhere, I believe. Yeah, he does have some skirmisher cav somewhere, so I've kind of formed up these spearmen to kind of prevent that from happening. I do not want his skirmisher cav, once they've run out of ammunition, to charge me in the back here. As it's a pretty brutal battle right now. as we try and break through these choke points. So these choke points are going to be hard to break through. It's going to be a slog, but we kind of have enough men to throw at it that hopefully we will be okay. But by the looks of it, on this right flank, Apollo using his cavalry superbly is really causing me an issue. This is kind of making my entire force across this river rout, which is not good for me. I have so many men over on this right flank, which I maybe could, like, I didn't realize there was actually a river crossing right here. What I should have done, yeah, I don't know why I didn't. What I should have done is just move some of this infantry across this river crossing. But I totally forgot that this one even existed. Wow, that was a huge mistake from me. Because this could have reinforced this right flank. Because you can see my right flank is completely like crumbled now. Apollo is using his cavalry amazingly just to kind of envelop me along with the war dogs. And if I could have maybe supported this flank, it could have definitely have maybe lose less casualties in this battle, or maybe even claim victory, depending on how this battle turns out. I have some of my dog handlers as well up against the druids, and the dog handlers just seem so strong, it's ridiculous. The druids, which are already covered in blood. Yeah, I mean, honestly, what I should have done was just, you know, should have just definitely have utilized that river crossing. And that just goes to show how important actually, like, knowing your surroundings and kind of taking in the map is in this battle, in this mod, and I guess in Total War in general, you know. If I would have utilized this, I could have shoved infantry round, you know, really put pressure on here, because Apollo is starting to run out of men. That is very true, you know. You can see balance of power is in my favor, but I've lost a lot more men than Apollo. You know, he's down to 3,000 men, but a lot of his soldiers are kind of out here, you know, and again, there are a lot of skirmishers which don't really have much ammunition. These Briton youths, yeah, these Briton youths who aren't really great in combat, you know, kind of make up a lot of his infantry. He doesn't really have too much, and again, a lot of his force is kind of waiting out here as well to ambush me. So, you know, if I could maybe have preached round here and kind of used this effectively, I could have got in this fort and maybe saved a lot of lives. The fighting in the choke points is still going fiercely. You can see the distance we've made. It's really cool to see, though, because some forces have kind of, like, broken out and, like, they've been outflanked and stuff. Because you can see there's engagements over here. But there's also fighting around here as well as we slowly encircle them. I love just seeing the dead bodies on the floor. You know, it kind of just really shows that we're making progress. Over here as well, we are really making progress. We're almost in the fort now, fighting over the sides. Lovely seeing these Celtic warriors fight. And I'm going to try and advance my troops now. I'm going to try and charge, push these guys up, because I see a lot of space where I can just kind of pull through. This is going to make me lose extra men because of it. But I feel like kind of just getting more of the soldiers in there to, you know, be dueling his soldiers will be effective. So we pushed in a little bit more. Got more bodies into the fray. Where is Vercingetorix as well? Vercingetorix is still over here, chilling with his infantry. I think that's him right there. Cool to see that he actually has a custom model as well. Very, very cool. And again, I have a lot of my infantry. I think this is my best infantry, my Celtic Free Warband. A lot of these dudes are in reserve and they're fresh, you know, they haven't had any engagement or anything like that. Also, this unit has been chasing this unit of Apollo skirmishers pretty much since the beginning of the game. So they've been chasing them for about 25 minutes now. I feel really sorry for them. If we look at the death and destruction over here, it's pretty brutal. But I think Apollo is going to claim victory just sheerly because of the amount of cavalry he has over here. But it's been a pretty, you know, decent exchange for me. Apollo doesn't really have any infantry to kind of flank round and hit me over here. My swordsmen are holding on as well. This is my most elite swordsmen, so they're going to be doing okay against the cavalry, especially now that we slowed the horses down. The fact that the horses are slowed down is going to give me kind of a bit of an advantage. It will allow these swords to kind of, you know, do what they do best and just grind out the engagement. Having the tower shoot at me obviously is not a good thing. They're going to be racking up kills with the Attila death towers. Trying to get a nice zoom-in shot with a fort in the background as the cavalry and the towers just go at it. Perfect, perfect. And Apollo is still keeping his men in reserve right now. You know, maybe it could have been a good tactic to throw these dudes around, but look at the death as well. Just the sheer amount of dead bodies just laying here. So my war dogs are still going in. They've managed to break in here. And this unit of Celtic Noble Warband are fighting hard, actually breaking into the city. Luckily, they're up against, you know, naked fanatics, naked freemen, and some skirmishers. So it's not like they're up against like a mighty force, which is really allowing them just to push into the city, which is really, really good for me. Again, the engagement with the horses over here. You know, my men are like wavering, but they're not kind of going. They have nothing to kind of push them over the edge of that route. So again, I didn't realize that this was a river crossing right here. So I'm going to use my forces. I'm going to bring them round because I was like, damn, I need to get over to this river. Apollo is kind of running out of men. You know, he only has 4. Oh, damn, he's not actually running out of men. He's lost half his force. And I guess I've lost over half my force. So it's kind of, you know, working out very much in Apollo's favor right now, which is not good. But the only thing I do have going for me is the fact that his infantry are starting to get very tired, and I have, you know, 3 or 4 units in reserve ready to push in here. I'm going to make my advance across here. And at the moment, I did not realize that Apollo had infantry right here. So I'm going to push some troops over here. However, I'm kind of looking at the numbers at this point, and I'm like, there's 3,000 men. I can't really see 3,000 men right now in this fortress. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my men over here. You can see I'm going to kind of form up a defensive square here, just in case. Because, you know, the only real place Apollo could have men would be here. So I'm being cautious here, which is kind of silly because, you know, if I would have just realized there was a river crossing right here, I could have just moved across here with everything and really, you know, put the outflank on. His druids are going to be assaulting me in the back. But again, these soldiers are so strong that they're really just being beasts. So I'm going to form up here, and then I suddenly see them. They do come into view, and I'm like, shit, reform. So these guys are going to try and form up and then form shield wall as best as possible as the naked fanatics come out of the woods and charge at me. They're going to form up, they're going to turn, they're going to form a shield wall, put their spears down, and then his naked fanatics are going to be charging him into the line. And again, he's going to be trying to outflank them. I'm going to try my best to move Vercingetorix over here as well, because I want to try and get Vercingetorix along this line, moving round here, up here, and then kind of outflank these druids to kind of give my swordsman a better chance at survival. So I want to try and push him, but Apollo is doing a good job at trying to engage him and tie him down, because he knows he doesn't want to let him get across. What I should have done looking back on this as well is maybe just keep Vercingetorix back a bit and just let my infantry do their thing. Because, you know, I'm going to be losing some horses here. So Apollo's going to be doing a good job at trying to outflank me as best as possible right now, as my men try and pour across the river, you know, because it's kind of hard. There's a lot of soldiers trying to get across here right now. A lot of horses and stuff like that. So yeah, Apollo is doing an amazing job at kind of screening me over here and stopping the horses from passing. I did get the majority of these guys out here, but they are under fire from the tower and stuff, which isn't good. So I'm going to be charging them in, I believe, very, very soon. I'm going to get as many as possible out of here. And then we're going to go in for a nice rear charge. As well as I am pouring infantry across in here, getting a nice, like, kind of flank assault on these naked fanatics, who again aren't naked, so I don't know why they're called that. I guess it's to make the PG rating right. So yeah, I'm trying to pull out my cavalry as best as possible and then throw in these swordsmen to kind of hold them up. Then I'm going to turn around as much. I've got as many horses as I want, and ideally I could have just charged him in, you know, and stopped this flank. I'm going to be charging him in to hit these naked fanatics in the back. They're going to be throwing their javelins in. That's what you're seeing going into the battle. And then these guys are going to hit these dudes in the back, which is going to help me out here. Hopefully try and rout these dudes. And, you know, I just need to keep on pouring these troops across. You know, Vercingetorix is very healthy right now. These naked fanatics are also very healthy. But again, I did not see this unit. I think this unit must have come back from routing. So these herders are going to be charging down my general. And my general is in a really poor spot right now. He's got these guys coming in. And then Apollo is also going to be using a skirmish cab to charge me in the back, which is just going to be catastrophic for me. Really is. And again, look at this unit of Celtic Noble Warband. They have been surrounded, like, for a while yet. And they are still just going hard. I think it's because they're not fighting really elite units, but still. So over here, I'm hoping to God that we can make sure to rout these guys, and then I charge out and actually counter-charge against these Briton horsemen. The skirmish unit from Apollo. But it's just really putting my cavalry in a bad place, because he's got soldiers chasing me down. He's got these guys going to be charging into the back of my general. My general is just in an awful place. He is surrounded right now, and he's going to start wavering very, very soon, which is not good. Not only wavering, though, not routing, which I kind of still got for me. Luckily, I managed to rout these naked freemen as well. But my infantry are doing okay. I actually managed to rout this unit. So, you know, even though he was kind of wavering, he's doing a fine job. He's managed to rout both of these units in the engagement just because I'm much heavier cavalry. And now I'm turning my way to this unit of Briton dog handlers. And I'm going to be dueling them in combat with the support of my infantry. So if I can break across here, you know, Apollo's going to be down to only kind of like one unit on each section, which it really isn't going to be going down too well for him. However, these dog handlers are doing insane. Like, I don't understand it. Yeah, they are spearmen, but they are just, you know, they were so close to routing. And they do actually manage just to fully rout Vercingetorix. It's just crazy how good the dog handler unit is. It really was. Sorry about that, I just needed to cough quickly. So yeah, they actually managed to rout my general, which I was like, damn, is this going to be the end of the battle? My infantry kind of suddenly go to like orange morale. Luckily, they are still holding him firm. The fact that they're, you know, not super tired, or at least most of the units aren't super tired, and that they're kind of got their flanks secured and stuff like that, is allowing them to hold on. But my general has been slain now, which is horrific. As well as this, look at this fighting. This is full-on fighting just all along the engagement. You know, there's no like battle lines. This is just a complete brawl in the streets right now. Jesus, like there's no defined shield wall or anything. Just every man is fighting for his life right now. And I love to see that. That is awesome. You know, even men up on the wall. Look at these soldiers up on the wall right now. You know, on the battlements, like they're just fighting everywhere. And this is beautiful to see. It really is. You know, it's always cool, obviously, to see shield walls, clash shield walls, and having these nice, pretty lines. But at the end of the day, in like battles like this, in siege battles and stuff, you just want to see, you know, everyone fighting for their life. This is chaotic. You've got archer fire coming in overhead. Brutal, brutal engagements right now. All the way back to the back of this formation for sure. Also, like, it's completely different if you compare it to this. Like, they're still holding the line over here, but over here the line is completely broken now. It's just a brutal, brutal engagement. So yeah, I did finally manage to lose my general, and then all these units decide to rout as well. Because they're not supported, they're getting outflanked and stuff, they're just going to fall back and get the hell out of there. Which is not looking good for me. Luckily, we are taking this, which is going to give us a morale buff, which is, you know, really, really important to claim this. So the fact that I've poured in onto this unit of Briton Warband is huge. It's going to kind of not so much counteract my general dying, but it's going to kind of supplement it, which is good. So we're going to hope our best as we just watch this awesome engagement right now. We're going to hope that taking one of these capture points, just because we've poured so many men into the battle, is going to be enough. And I think Apollo is actually routing here, or is he falling back? Yeah, we've actually managed to rout him on both of these sides. So we're going to pour so many men into the city now, completely pushing him back. But again, there's 12.5 minutes left, and we have to cross these 4 choke points still, destroying one tower over here. So this counter could be to the end of the battle, because I cut out a bunch of the men deploying and stuff. So this counter could be to the end of a battle, or it could be to when I claim victory. So when this strikes 0, I will either claim victory or the timer will be up. So hopefully you guys can kind of use that as an indicator to kind of keep you guys guessing on who's going to win. And you can see I'm just pouring in my men as best as possible now. The sheer death and destruction is awesome. And Apollo is forming up, like kind of like his last defense. You know, all he has to do is hold out for like another, you know, well, technically it was, he only had to hold out for like another, you know, 11, 12 minutes because, you know, the timer was that close to kind of either hitting 0 or not hitting 0. And if we just, again, take a nice little zoom out of these death soldiers as I'm forming up. So I'm going to be a little bit cheeky here. I'm going to kind of, you know, just form up my soldiers as best as possible. And kind of give them a bit of rest. You know, throw some of my more fresh troops over to fight his warband. But also keep, you know, a decent, you know, you can see I'm forming up like these troops which have been fighting. They're exhausted. You can see them. They are super exhausted, covered in blood. I'm going to kind of just leave these guys to kind of get their breath back and, you know, improve their morale. I'm also going to throw the last group of my reserves right around this flank and kind of just ensure that I assault everywhere. By the looks of it, that unit finally routed over here, but my war dogs are still going hard. Look at them. They are still fighting. It's ridiculous. They've been fighting for like 30 minutes now. And you can't like attack them as well. It's just pretty OP how good they are. So yeah, that final unit did rout, but it took several units with them. And Apollo kind of is stuck to just these last couple units of Fanatics and his general unit. And I'm pouring in the rest of my men, letting them get their breath back, while still having a unit of spearmen kind of just beachheading for me as best as possible. All I'm doing is trying to bide some time. We can actually speed this up a little bit. All I'm trying to do is bide some time for my men to kind of get their energy back, and also kind of keep them engaged so they don't get their energy back, and pour like more of my infantry across here. I do have some infantry coming in here as well. They're going to be pouring in. I think I go and stick these guys to the left flank in a second, actually. Or maybe not. I can't quite remember. But yeah, I'm just kind of biding my time. Trying to tire out his men whilst my men kind of get their energy back. Because I do still have like a fresh unit out here as well, ready to pour into the battle, which is good. You can see all my men are forming up now. We've taken one flag point. All we have to do is take that second flag point before the timer runs out, and we will claim victory. It will start ticking down the 6 minutes of holding the city. And then we will claim victory, or the 3 minutes of holding the city, and then we will win the day. So let's keep on pushing. Or is it 5 minutes? Whatever. Maths is hard early in the morning. Yeah, 5 minutes of holding the city. So okay, cool. Let's go ahead and click play again. We'll continue to watch this engagement as everyone is pretty much in position. I've got my reinforcements, these fresh troops getting ready to move into the city now. Got my spearmen coming around this flank. I just want to kind of, you know, force Apollo to kind of use as many men as possible to plug every gap. I don't want him to have several units holding a certain choke point. He's done an amazing job at stretching out his general, which means he's kind of defending 2 choke points with his general. This unit of cowards are going to fall back, and I'm just going to replace them. I'm going to plug the gap with another unit because I have all my swords in the city now. They're going to be charging. I also have a unit of archers as well. I've got these guys kind of close. So as I said, I'm just going to plug the gaps, you know, of my routing men with more reinforcements. Going to charge them in. I'll keep pressing K so you guys can see like the men routing and stuff like that. I finally engaged them over here with more of my fresh troops, and they are up against naked fanatics, so these dudes will be holding for a pretty long time. Also got some javelin fire coming in as well. I'm also using my archers as well to kind of hit these naked fanatics in the back, hoping, because I just need to thin these guys out. Because if we look at it, Apollo has like 1 unit to 1 gap. If I can break one of these units, then that will allow me to outflank him on any of these, because he is completely stretched out right now. I've got my Celtic Spearwall ready, just kind of intimidating them, I guess, shouting abuse at them. The war dogs are still going in, which is ridiculous. But I'm finding it very, very hard to push through here. Like, extremely hard to push through. It's just such a strong line. It's obviously his general unit. His general unit is fresh. He hasn't, like, fought anyone yet. So it's going to be super, super difficult to break through this last, like, remaining 2 choke points right now. My best bet is just to kind of overwhelm him on one of these other flanks, which I will be trying to do. That's kind of my plan. But the time is ticking. There's only, like, 6-7 minutes left in the battle. All I need to do is just get as many men as possible to take this flag point, and victory will be mine. So I'm going to be pushing in just desperately everywhere now. You know, time is running out, so I'm using all my infantry just to a final push. Yeah, the general has died as well. You've got to remember, Vercingetorix is dead, so Apollo could just rout me. You know, he doesn't even have to wait for the time to technically be over. What is that flag bearer doing? Look at him. He's just chilling. He's just like, I'll keep watch, guys. You guys go on and fight for your lives. You know, try and claim victory. I'll just, you know, keep watch. Make sure no one's coming behind. Just chill. Just chill. Look at him. He's just, you know, like, whatever. We're just having a good time. What a crazy guy. What an absolute crazy guy. He's seen some shit. Look at him. He's like on like an acid trip or something. spear on spear action right now. Luckily, I do have longer spears, so I'm hoping that will kind of pay dividends. And you can see I am slowly but surely breaking through this engagement. Some of my swords are deep in the Fnatic line. That guy getting his, oh my god, brutal with the axe. That dude has an arrow in his back here. You can see my arrows are starting to find their marks now as well. So my swordsmen are pushing on in this chaotic fight, but I'm struggling. I really am. Like, there's only 2 choke points right here, and I'm trying my best to get across this river and beachhead so that my more elite infantry can really kind of go to town on them. But I'm finding it extremely difficult to do so. And as I said, every minute, Apollo is getting closer to victory, so time is of the essence for sure. I think my best bet is to rout this unit right here. I'm putting all my archer fire on it. I'm just trying to whittle them down as best as possible, because what they're down to, 166 men right now. Over here, they've just got the dog handlers and the fanatics as well, which are going to be charging in. The time is ticking, as I said. Look at that. Not much longer left in this battle. This has been a hectic and you know, a massive grindy battle, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully you guys don't mind that it was a super grindy battle. I know you guys actually kind of like these huge scale grindy battles. So if you did, make sure to drop a like and a comment, as I do really, really appreciate it. And let me know what scenarios you want to see next on the Ancient Empires mod. My men are trying heroically to push over this wood, but some of the men are routing as well. Or am I bringing them back? I think I actually just fell back some men back to kind of make room for more fresh troops. And again, the fighting is just chaotic over here on this side. But the archer fire are finding their marks. You can see every single volley is killing at least some of these fanatics. Every single one we kill just opens up another avenue for my men to pour in. You know, all you have to do, soldiers, you brave men, is to break this one unit of fanatics, and then victory will be mine, because this will allow me to outflank every single one of his positions. Oh, that dude just got wrecked! That dude just got wrecked over there! I love the kill animations in Attila, they are awesome. And the naked fanatics are absolutely covered in blood as well. Definitely fierce warriors for sure. I just think this archer fire, there you go, I'm making a huge push now. I'm pushing all my numbers, but the formation is weak enough for me to just kind of throw in as many men as possible into this. You can see I'm getting deep into his formation, completely surrounding them, and then they're going to engage them. You know, the fact that Apollo didn't have a sturdy formation, you know, he didn't have enough men here to kind of withstand that, just allowed me just to charge in deep. And now you can see this is a proper street fighting now. So many men. I'm also pushing forward with some more fresh troops, but again, this is risky because this hurts your morale doing stuff like this, because it makes it so that your men kind of are attacking and they're getting attacking, and they're also outflanked and stuff. So the fact that my general is not there, you know, my general is gone. This was a risky maneuver and it could have lost me the battle, but it also could win me the battle as well. I am slowly starting to take the flag point as well now. You can see that the flag point is starting to go down, but is there enough time for me to claim victory here, you know? This all start ticking down the defender remain time, but is this the full 60 minutes, or did I claim victory beforehand? That's a real question. Is there enough time? Do I need to rout Apollo beforehand? That is the question. And finally, we'll kind of watch this for the last minute of the engagement. This devastating, this gory engagement. As the war dogs are still fighting. Look at them. They are still just going at it, which is ridiculous. We press K, you can see that we're starting to really make progress over here. They are suddenly going to rout, you know, their morale is going good. The fact that we've kind of managed to get our superior numbers in here, we're cutting them down now. They are losing men pretty quickly. And if we can rout this unit, you know, victory will be mine. Apollo is kind of deciding what to do. He doesn't really know too much. Like, what does he do? Engage here and try and stop it? Or does he kind of have a last stand over here? He decided to make sure that he stuck his men into the back here. He's going to allow me to pour into the city, but he's going to protect his rear, his general's back, by forming up over here. However, the fact that I have both the flag points, the fact that he only has weak troops left, you know, these skirmishers, and the fact that I'm routing so many of his men is just going to cause a mass rout, and victory will be in favor of the Ardennes. So what an epic battle that was. My god, that was a long cast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Those of you who watched to the end, a massive thank you to you guys. But yeah, let's look at some of the kills in this. You know, it's a bit hard to see, but we can just about do it. So my swordsmen, 257 kills. They were really strong here. 151 over here. 800 kills on my war dogs. War dogs need to be nerfed, and hopefully they have been, because that's ridiculous. 800 kills on them. 179. I mean, I kind of got more like a larger army, but it's not as high quality as Apollo. So it was kind of like a nice little exchange there. You know, I had 3,000 more men than him, but then 3,000 men were kind of weaker troops. But they actually did. These are my Celtic Levy Freemen are the weaker troops. They definitely did decently. That's for sure. Then if we look at Apollos, you know, some of these Britain Free Spears getting 334 kills. The Druids getting 141. Fanatics doing pretty good. The cavalry again doing amazing. Well, this one unit did amazing. The other ones not so much. They were obviously the ones we managed to kill pretty early on. And then the war dogs getting over 1,000 kills, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this battle. Make sure to drop a like and a comment if you did, and let me know what scenarios you want to see next on Ancient Empires. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time, and fish out.